Tonight, one speakerphone, one restaurant, and 50 unwilling medical witnesses.
Okay, I swear I was trying to help. It just went so sideways so fast.
He announced my cholesterol to an entire Italian restaurant, an entire one.
Inspired by the kind of story you'd find on Reddit. Did you know that studies suggest roughly 1 in 3 people have accidentally shared private medical information with someone they absolutely did not intend to tell?
1 in 3? Okay, wait. That is honestly way higher than I expected. Like, that's basically everyone at some point in their lives.
I am that 1 in 3. I am living proof of that statistic, and I want everyone to know I did not do it on purpose. Jake did.
And on that note, welcome to English Through Stories. I'm Oliver. With me, as always, are Jake and Sophie. Today's story involves a busy Italian restaurant on a Friday evening, a very loud phone call, and a medical appointment that was nobody else's business. Nobody's, except, as it turned out, about 50 strangers.
Okay, so in my defense, and I want to lead with my defense here, I genuinely thought I was being helpful.
He was not being helpful. He was being a menace, a well-meaning, catastrophic menace.
Let us set the scene. Sophie had been waiting for weeks for a referral. That's when your doctor sends you to see a specialist for a specific problem, a referral. Sophie had been waiting for hers to come through, and she was, shall we say, anxious about it.
Proper anxious, dead anxious actually. I've been back and forth to my GP, that's your general practitioner, your regular family doctor, and she finally said, right, I'm going to send you for a referral to a specialist. And then I just waited for ages.
And while she was waiting, we all went out for dinner, like a big group thing. Friday night, this Italian place, it was packed. We're talking every table full, loud music, people everywhere.
It was the kind of restaurant where you have to lean slightly across the table and raise your voice just to order a starter. Sophie had her phone on the table, face down, as she always does at dinner, a habit she has mentioned more than once, and one that, on this particular evening, was about to become deeply ironic.
I put my phone face down because I think it's rude to have your phone out at dinner, and I told everyone at the table that, and still.
Okay, so here's what happened. Sophie's phone lights up on the table, right? And I can see the screen from where I'm sitting, and it says the clinic is calling. And Sophie's in the middle of this whole story she's telling. She hasn't noticed, and I'm like, oh, this could be the call she's been waiting for, the one about her appointment.
Now for context, an appointment, as many of you will know, is a scheduled time to meet with a doctor or other professional. But this wasn't just any appointment. Sophie had been waiting for confirmation of a follow-up appointment, a follow-up being a second visit after your first one to check on your progress or results.
A follow-up appointment that I had told Jake about in confidence, in private, over coffee, just the two of us.
Which I remembered. I genuinely remembered. That's why I grabbed the phone. I was trying to help. I pressed answer and I handed it to Sophie and I said, and this is where I maybe made a small error in judgment. I said loudly, Sophie, it's the clinic. It's about your referral for your cholesterol.
He announced my cholesterol to an entire Italian restaurant.
Cholesterol, for learners who aren't familiar, it's a fatty substance in your blood, and having high cholesterol is a very common health concern. Perfectly normal, nothing shameful about it whatsoever. And yet somehow, having it announced at full volume in a crowded restaurant on a Friday night does feel different.
The table next to us went completely silent. I saw a woman physically stop her fork halfway to her mouth. A man looked up from his pasta. I wanted to crawl under the tablecloth and live there forever.
And okay, I saw her face and I immediately knew I had done something wrong, like the look she gave me. Honestly, I've seen less terrifying expressions in horror films. But the phone is already ringing on speaker because I don't know why I did this. I put it on speaker when I picked it up.
Why was it on speaker?
I don't know. I think I thought it would be easier for her to hear in a noisy restaurant. It seemed logical at the time.
So there it was, the phone on speaker on the table, in a restaurant that had gone approximately 30% quieter than it was a moment ago. And on the other end, a very cheerful receptionist.
She was so cheerful. Bless her, she had no idea. She goes, hello, is this Sophie? I'm calling from the cardiology clinic. Cardiology, that's the department that deals with heart health. I'm calling because we've had a cancellation and we'd like to book you in for your consultation sooner than planned. A consultation is your first proper meeting with the specialist, where they go through everything with you. She explained the word herself to the entire restaurant.
Which is honestly educational for everyone present.
Jake.
I'm just saying, everyone in that restaurant probably knows what a consultation is now.
Sophie, to her enormous credit, maintained her composure. She picked up the phone, took it off speaker, bless her, and moved away from the table to finish the call in private. But the damage, as they say in the trade, was done.
I walked back to the table and every single person I passed, I could feel them, not staring openly, just aware. One older couple gave me this look, like this sympathetic nod, like they were rooting for me, which was kind, but also mortifying.
When she sat back down, I said, and I want credit for this, I said, "Good news." And she looked at me and said nothing for about 4 seconds, which, if you know Sophie, is like a 6-hour silence from anyone else.
I was processing. I had just had my medical history announced to strangers over bruschetta. I needed a moment.
Now it was good news. The clinic had a cancellation, and they were offering Sophie an earlier slot. In the world of health appointments, a cancellation that benefits someone else is practically a gift. Sophie had been waiting for this consultation, and suddenly it was happening 2 weeks sooner than expected.
Which was dead good news, to be fair. Properly good news. I've been worried about waiting so long, because when you're waiting for a specialist you tend to catastrophize a bit. My GP had already done some preliminary tests, preliminary meaning the first basic tests before the specialist sees you, and everything looked fine, but still, waiting is hard.
So I did help. In a roundabout, chaotic, privacy-violating kind of way, I helped.
You're not getting credit for this, Jake.
Jake is not getting credit, but the evening was not over, because when Sophie sat back down and quietly told the table it was fine, good news actually, the couple at the next table, the ones who had given her the sympathetic nod, leaned over.
The woman goes, and she's got this lovely warm voice. She goes, "Sorry, love, I couldn't help but overhear. My husband had his cholesterol sorted last year, didn't you, Derek?" And Derek nods. And she goes, "Best thing he ever did. Made sure he kept all his follow-up appointments, didn't you, Derek?" And Derek nods again. And then she goes, "Is your GP keeping a close eye on your prescription?" Because Derek's GP changed his prescription 3 times before they found the right one. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't even have a prescription yet. I'm at the bruschetta stage of this entire situation.
A prescription, by the way, for anyone learning, is the official written instruction from a doctor that allows you to get medication from a pharmacy. Just to keep the vocabulary going, since we're all learning together at this restaurant, apparently.
Don't you dare make this educational.
And yet here we are, Derek's wife, whose name turned out to be Margaret. Margaret then proceeded to give Sophie approximately 12 minutes of unsolicited medical advice, including recommending a specific specialist, suggesting Sophie ask about a particular screening, a screening being a test to check for a condition before symptoms appear, and recommending a low-sodium pasta alternative that Derek quite liked.
I genuinely thought it was sweet. Like Margaret and Derek were so invested. Margaret had her reading glasses out by the end, writing stuff on a napkin for Sophie.
She wrote down the name of Derek's specialist on a restaurant napkin in biro and handed it across. I didn't know what to do, so I just took it. I still have it. I did not use it, but I have it.
The dinner continued. The pasta arrived. Jake, sensing Sophie's ongoing internal suffering, did what he usually does in these situations, ordered her the nicest dessert on the menu and said nothing more about it, which, honestly, was probably the right call.
Tiramisu, big one. I got her the big one.
It was a very good tiramisu. I'm not going to pretend otherwise.
As they were leaving, Sophie stopped to thank Margaret because Sophie is, despite everything, very gracious. And Margaret patted her hand and said, quote, "Don't you worry, love. Derek ignored his diagnosis for 2 years and he's absolutely fine now. Just make sure you attend every single checkup." A checkup, for our learners, is a routine appointment where a doctor examines you to make sure everything is healthy, even when you feel fine.
And I said thank you, Margaret. And Derek gave me a thumbs up. And I walked out of that restaurant having arrived as a person with a private medical situation and left as someone with a support network of complete strangers.
Community, honestly. That's what that was, community.
It was a violation of my medical privacy, is what it was.
The consultation, when it eventually happened, went well. Sophie's levels were managed with some dietary changes, no prescription required in the end, which Margaret would have been thrilled to hear. Sophie did not update Margaret. She does not have Margaret's contact details. This was, perhaps, the one boundary that held.
I did apologize properly, like genuinely. I sent a really long voice note.
You did, it was 4 minutes and 37 seconds long. I timed it.
4 minutes and 37 seconds of heartfelt apology.
And then at the end you said, but also in fairness you did get an earlier appointment, and I nearly deleted the whole thing.
It's technically true.
And that is where we leave today's story. One restaurant, one accidental speakerphone, one very cheerful clinic receptionist, and one couple named Derek and Margaret who will never know they appear in a podcast.
If that made you laugh or cringe, honestly, cringe counts. Drop us a like. It genuinely helps more than you'd think.
And follow us so you never miss another story. Proper brilliant ones coming every week, I promise.
Subscribe to English Through Stories, new episodes every week, and your medical history stays entirely between us.
See you on the next one.